Jai Gurudev. Today we are exploring a lesser known but significant relationship in the Ramayana between Lord Ram and his brother-in-law, Sage Rishyashringa. To shed light on this, we have with us an art of living expert well versed in spiritual texts and an officer from the Vedic Dharma Sansthan. Let's begin with you, sir, from the Vedic Dharma Sansthan. Could you explain how Rishyashringa is connected to Lord Rama? Jai Gurudev. Sage Rishyashringa is an essential yet lesser highlighted character in the Ramayana. He was married to Shanta, who is Lord Rama's elder sister. Shanta was adopted by King Romapada of Anga, making Rishyashringa Rama's brother-in-law. His relationship with Rama, although not as frequently discussed as that of the other major characters, was pivotal, especially during the Ashwamedh Yajna performed by Dasharath for the birth of his sons, including Lord Rama. Rishyashringa was the presiding priest of this yajna, and it was through his divine intervention that Rama and his brothers were born. That is fascinating. So his role was directly linked to the divine birth of Lord Ram. Could you expound on how their relationship evolved during the course of the Ramayana? Yes, it did evolve, though it isn't highlighted as much as Rama's relationships with his brothers or mentors like Sage Vishwamitra. However, there are indications in various commentaries and lesser known versions of the Ramayana that suggest Sage Rishyashringa was highly respected by Lord Rama. The connection was spiritual, rooted in the ancient tradition of Yagyas and Vedic wisdom. Rishyashringa, being a sage with immense spiritual prowess, maintained a subtle relationship with Rama, guiding him indirectly in matters of dharma and spiritual wisdom. That's very insightful. Now, turning to the art of living expert, could you share the significance of Rishyashringa's role in the broader spiritual context, especially in the context of art of living's teachings? Rishyashringa represents purity, innocence, and the power of austerity. In art of living, we often emphasize the inner journey, moving from external achievements to internal stillness and realization. Rishyashringa's life is a reflection of this journey. He was raised in complete isolation, unaware of worldly matters, and his purity was such that his presence could bring rain during droughts. His relationship with Rama can be seen as symbolic, where Ram embodies the perfect man or Maryada Purushottam, and Rishyashringa represents the ascetic, the sage who channels divine energy into worldly affairs. For example, the Ashwamedh Yajna, performed under Rishyashringa's guidance, wasn't just a ritual for progeny, but a bit deeper metaphor for harmonizing nature's energies, which resulted in the birth of Rama and his brothers. In Art of Living, we teach that when one's mind is pure and centered, like Rishyashringa's, anything is possible. Miracles like the birth of divine beings happen effortlessly. That's a powerful perspective. How can modern spiritual practitioners apply the lessons from the relationship between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa in their daily lives? In our modern lives, we are often caught up in external pursuits, career, relationships, and material success. The story of Rishyashringa and Rama teaches us the importance of inner purity and surrender. Rishyashringa's contribution to Lord Rama's story wasn't through action in the battlefield, but through inner wisdom and spiritual power. Similarly, in today's context, we can achieve much through the practices of pranayama, meditation, and sudarshan kriya. These techniques taught by Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji help individuals purify their mind, just as Rishyashringa's purity allowed him to summon divine energy. This purity and focus can help us navigate challenges in life with grace and strength. That's excellent. Coming back to the Vedic Dharma Sansthan, could you highlight any conversations or specific instances where Rishyashringa and Lord Rama interacted during the Ramayana that are not as well known? There are a few references in ancient commentaries and folk traditions where it's mentioned that Rishyashringa provided advice to Rama and his brothers on certain Vedic rituals. After the Ashwamedh Yajna, it is believed that Rishyashringa continued to play an advisory role in matters of spiritual governance for Ayodhya. While these aren't widely known episodes, some regional versions of the Ramayana suggest that Rishyashringa also blessed Rama before his exile, providing him with spiritual strength and protection. That adds a new dimension to their relationship. Before we conclude, could you both share any final thoughts on how this relationship between Rishyashringa and Lord Rama can inspire today's seekers? The essence of their relationship is spiritual wisdom and respect. It teaches us that relationships in life should not only be transaction but transformation. The connection between Lord Ram and Sage Rishyashringa wasn't based on worldly needs but on a deeper exchange of spiritual energy. As modern day seekers, we can learn to build relationships based on shared spiritual growth and higher purposes, just like Rama and Rishyashringa. I agree. The story of Ram and Rishyashringa teaches us the importance of reverence for spiritual knowledge and guidance. Even though Ram was a prince, he respected and sought the wisdom of a sage like Rishyashringa, who lived a life of austerity and simplicity. This humility and recognition of spiritual authority are timeless lessons for all of us. We should seek guidance from those who have walked the path of wisdom before us, just as Rama did. Thank you both for these profound insights. It is clear that the relationship between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa, though lesser known, holds deep spiritual lessons for today's world. As we continue to explore the Ramayana and its many layers, this is one relationship that certainly deserves more attention. Jai Gurudev, today we will explore the lesser known yet significant relationship between Lord Ram and his brother in law, sage Rishyashringa, as narrated in the Ramayana and other ancient texts. To help us understand this relationship, we are joined by an art of living expert and an officer from the Vedic Dharma Sanstha. Let's begin by discussing how sage Rishyashringa is connected to Lord Rama. Can you share more about this connection? Jai Gurudev, sage Rishyashringa is an important figure in the Ramayana. Though his relationship with Lord Ram is less frequently discussed, Rishyashringa, the son of sage Vibhandaka, was known for his purity, ascetic life, and strong spiritual power. He married Shanta, the elder sister of Lord Rama, making him Lord Rama's brother-in-law. Rishyashringa was pivotal in performing the Putraka Mishti Yagya, which led to the birth of Lord Rama and his brothers Bharat, Lakshmana, and Shatrughna. His connection with the royal family of Ayodhya was both familial and spiritual. That's intriguing. His role in the Putra Kamishti Yajna seems to be critical in the Ramayana. Can you expand on how Rishyashringa and Rama interacted or had conversations during the course of the Ramayana? Although not extensively highlighted in the popular retellings of the Ramayana, some lesser known texts and research papers do mention specific interactions and conversations between Lord Ram and sage Rishyashringa. For instance, in certain regional versions of the Ramayana, it is suggested that after the Ashwamedh Yajna, Rishyashringa and Lord Ram grew up, had discussions on the importance of Vedic rituals and their significance in ensuring cosmic harmony and order in the kingdom. Rishyashringa's role was not limited to rituals alone, but extended into providing spiritual guidance to the royal family of Ayodhya. There is a mention of a conversation where Rishyashringa advises Lord Rama on dharma, righteousness, and the duties of a king. Rishyashringa, being a sage of great wisdom, had deep insights into the Vedas, and it is said that he imparted this wisdom to Rama before his departure for the exile, subtly influencing how Rama would handle the adversities ahead. In these instances, Rishyashringa is portrayed as a figure who guides and advises Rama, though he remains in the background for most of the epic. That is fascinating. It adds a new layer to understanding Lord Rama's life and challenges. Turning to the art of living expert, could you reflect on what the spiritual significance of this relationship might be, especially in the context of art of living's teachings? Absolutely, from a spiritual perspective, the relationship between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa holds significant value. Rishyashringa symbolizes purity and the power of a meditative, disciplined mind and life. His ability to perform the yagyas that had such monumental effects like the birth of divine beings is a direct result of his pure consciousness and deep connection to the divine. In the teachings of Art of Living, we emphasize that through practices like Sudarshan Kriya, Pranayama, and meditation, one can achieve a state of purity and deep connection with the universe, much like Rishyashringa. In his relationship with Lord Rama, we see how spiritual guidance flows from a state of inner clarity. Rishyashringa, through his spiritual practices, had cultivated a deep sense of dharma and cosmic order, which he shared with Rama. This wisdom and the conversations between them, as hinted at in various texts, emphasize that even the most enlightened souls like Lord Ram benefit from seeking guidance from sages like Rishyashringa. It's a reminder for modern seekers that no matter how evolved we are, the guidance of spiritual masters is invaluable. That's a beautiful interpretation. Could you both elaborate on specific books or sources where these conversations and interactions are mentioned and what they reveal about their relationships? Some sources, such as the Ananda Ramayana and Adbhuta Ramayana, contain references to Rishyashringa's wisdom and his discussions with Lord Rama. These lesser known versions of the Ramayana present a more detailed exploration of the sages and their influence on Rama's journey. In the Ananda Ramayana, for example, there is a description of how Rishyashringa advises Lord Rama on the spiritual preparations needed before undertaking his 14-year exile. Additionally, certain commentaries on the Ramayana written by scholars in the medieval period talk about how Rishyashringa's instructions during yagyas included not just ritual aspects but deeper teachings on dharma and the responsibilities of rulers. Rishyashringa was deeply committed to the welfare of the kingdom, and he offered his guidance to Rama on how a king should balance spiritual wisdom with practical governance. Building on that, some of these texts also emphasize the inner dialogue that Rishyashringa helped foster in Lord Rama. In conversations found in the Adbhuta Ramayana, there is mention of how Rishyashringa's advice included cultivating a calm, centered mind during moments of adversity. And this is something we focus on in the Art of Living teachings, how to stay centered in difficult times, much like Lord Rama did throughout his life. There is also an interesting perspective in the Yoga Vasista where, although Rishyashringa is not directly mentioned, the essence of sage like wisdom in guiding a seeker through life's challenges is captured. It shows the universal value of such relationships where the presence of a wise teacher or guide like Rishyashringa can have profound effects on a leader like Lord Ram. This really highlights how the relationship between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa goes beyond just familial ties. It's deeply spiritual and transformative. As modern readers and practitioners, how can we incorporate the lessons from this relationship into our own spiritual practices? The key takeaway from the relationship between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa is the importance of inner purity, wisdom, and guidance in the modern world. We can apply these lessons by seeking out the wisdom of spiritual teachers and adopting practices that help us stay connected to our inner selves. Even amidst challenges, Rishyashringa's purity achieved through deep meditation and austerity is something we can strive for through the practice of pranayama, meditation, and Sudarshan Kriya. Additionally, the conversations between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa highlight the importance of mentorship and guidance on the spiritual path. Just as Lord Ram sought the guidance of a sage, we too must be open to receiving wisdom from teachers who have walked the path before us. In Art of Living, we emphasize the importance of satsang, coming together in spiritual wisdom, which mirrors the interactions between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa. I would add that Rishyashringa's dedication to Dharma and his role as a spiritual guide for Rama remind us that life's challenges can be navigated with the right spiritual foundation. Whether it's through the performance of yajnas, meditative practices, or the pursuit of wisdom, we can strengthen our connection to Dharma and the divine. The relationship between Rishyashringa and Rama is a model for how kings, leaders, and individuals in any role should seek out and honor the wisdom of sages to maintain the balance between spiritual and worldly duties. Thank you both for these enlightening insights. The relationship between Lord Ram and sage Rishyashringa, though lesser known, clearly holds profound lessons for spiritual seekers today. As we continue to explore the Ramayana's many layers, this connection between them emerges as a powerful example of spiritual mentorship and the importance of inner wisdom. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev, today we are delving into a relatively lesser known relationship in the Ramayana, the bond between Lord Rama and his brother in law, Sage Rishyashringa. Many books, research papers, and articles mention their interactions and the significance of their relationships. To help us explore this, we have an Art of Living expert and an officer from Vedic Dharma Sansthan. Let's start with understanding the initial connection between Lord Ram and Sage Rishyashringa. Jai Gurudev, and thank you. And Sage Rishyashringa plays a significant role in the Ramayana, especially concerning the royal family of Ayodhya. He was a great sage born to Vibhandaka Rishi and raised in complete isolation from the outside world. Later, he married Shanta, who in some Ramayana versions is considered the elder sister of Lord Rama. This familial tie makes Rishyashringa Lord Rama's brother-in-law. One of the most crucial roles Rishyashringa plays in the epic is his performance of the Putra Kamesti Yagya on behalf of King Dashrata. The success of this yagya led to the birth of Lord Ram and his brothers. This makes Sage Rishyashringa a pivotal spiritual figure in the story of Lord Ram. So Rishyashringa's role in bringing about the birth of Rama was crucial, but are there any mentions of direct interactions or conversations between Rama and Rishyashringa later in the Ramayana? While direct interactions between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa are not as widely recorded in the most well-known versions of the Ramayana, there are other ancient texts and lesser-known versions that suggest deeper conversations between them. Some regional adaptations, like the Adbhuta Ramayana and the Ananda Ramayana, talk about how Rishyashringa's spiritual wisdom continued to influence the royal family even after the birth of Rama. For instance, after Lord Rama's return from exile and the Ashmedha Yajna, it is said that Rishyashringa advised him on governance and the responsibilities of a king who balances spiritual wisdom with worldly duties. These conversations, although not detailed in Valmiki's Ramayana, are preserved in later traditions. That's interesting. Let's turn to the Art of Living expert from a spiritual perspective. What is the significance of this relationship between Lord Ram and sage Rishyashringa, especially in the context of of Art of Living's teachings? The spiritual relationship between Lord Ram and sage Rishyashringa can be seen as one that emphasizes the importance of purity, wisdom, and spiritual mentorship. In the art of living, we often talk about the role of a guru or a spiritual guide. Rishyashringa was not only Ram's brother in law, but also a sage of immense spiritual prowess whose guidance was sought for critical moments in the royal family's life, such as the Putra Kameshti Yagya and other rituals. The bond between them symbolizes how even individuals with great destinies like Lord Ram benefit from the wisdom of a sage. Rishyashringa's life, rooted in deep meditative practices and purity, is a reflection of how spiritual guidance must be sought and respected in one's life. Similarly, in the art of living, we emphasize that through practices like Sudarshan Kriya and meditation, individuals can attain clarity and connect to their inner selves, much like how Rishyashringa attained great powers through his own meditative life. This relationship seems to have multiple layers of both family ties and spiritual mentorship. Are there specific books or sources that expand on their conversations or events beyond the common versions of the Ramayana? Yes, there are several lesser known sources that touch upon the deeper aspects of their relationship. Some of these texts, such as the Adbhut Ramayana and certain commentaries on the Valmiki Ramayana, indicate that Rishyashringa's role was not confined to the Yajna alone, but extended into ongoing guidance. For example, in the Ananda Ramayana, it is mentioned that Rishyashringa imparted advice on Lord Rama on conducting royal duties with a spiritual mindset. These texts highlight that their interactions were centered around dharma and the cosmic balance that a king must maintain. Furthermore, in ancient commentaries, Rishyashringa is portrayed as advising Lord Rama on how to handle the challenges of kingship, balancing material duties with spiritual obligations. He provided insights into the performance of rituals that helped Rama maintain the divine order in his kingdom. This highlights a much deeper relationship than is typically discussed. How can modern day practitioners incorporate the lessons from the Rama Rishyashringa relationship into their own spiritual journey? There are many valuable lessons we can take from this relationship. One key lesson is the importance of seeking guidance from spiritual mentors. In the same way Lord Rama sought advice from Rishyashringa, we too need to seek wisdom from those who have walked the spiritual path before us. This is central to the Art of Living's teachings, where the role of the guru or a wise guide helps us navigate life's challenges and remain centered. Another aspect is the purity and discipline that Rishyashringa exemplifies. His isolation and meditative practices helped him cultivate immense spiritual power. In today's world, while we may not lead an ascetic life, we can still practice regular meditation, yoga, and Sudarshan Kriya to connect with our own inner purity and clarity. I agree. Additionally, the interactions between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa serve as a reminder of the importance of balancing worldly duties with spiritual wisdom. In our lives, we often face challenges that require us to make decisions. The wisdom that Rishyashringa imparted to Rama on matters of dharma and governance is a timeless reminder that spiritual practices should inform our daily lives, helping us lead with integrity and a sense of higher purpose. This has been an enlightening conversation. Before we close, are there any final points about the Rama Rishyashringa relationship that we should be aware of, especially from new research or sources? One emerging area of interest is the connection between Rishyashringa's rituals and their symbolic representation of balance in nature and society. Some modern scholars and research papers focus on the deeper esoteric meanings of these yajnas, suggesting that they were not only meant for material results but also for maintaining the cosmic balance between natural forces, which was essential for a king like Rama to uphold. Additionally, recent research has highlighted how Rishyashringa's presence in Ayodhya during certain key moments of Rama's life reinforced the idea that spiritual guidance is necessary not only during times of personal crisis, but also for maintaining societal harmony. From a spiritual standpoint, we should also note the lasting impact of Rishyashringa's legacy. His teachings, though not widely discussed, remind us that inner purity, meditation, and spiritual clarity are essential for personal transformation and societal well being. His relationship with Rama serves as a blueprint for how seekers should approach their spiritual path with the support and guidance of enlightened masters. Thank you both for sharing these insightful perspectives. It is clear that the relationship between Lord Ram and Sage Rishyashringa holds profound lessons for spiritual seekers, leaders, and anyone looking to balance the material and spiritual aspects of life. Jai Gurudev, today we will explore a lesser known aspect of the Ramayana, the relationship between Lord Ram and his brother in law, Sage Rishyashringa. While most know about Sage Rishyashringa's role in King Dashrath's Putra Kameshti Yagna, their deeper interactions are not as widely discussed. Joining us to shed light on this topic are an art of living expert and an officer from Vedic Dharma Sansthan. Let's start by talking about the initial connection between Lord Rama and Sage Rishyashringa. Jai Gurudev, it is a pleasure to discuss this. As we know, Sage Rishyashringa is the son of Sage Vibhandaka, and he was known for his immense spiritual power. His marriage to Shanta, who is considered the elder sister of Lord Rama, in certain versions of the Ramayana establishes him as Rama's brother-in-law. Rishyashringa's most prominent role is in performing the Putra Kaveshti Yagya, which enabled King Dashrath to have sons, including Lord Rama. This yagya is a cornerstone event in the Ramayana and is directly tied to Rishyashringa's deep spiritual knowledge. That's true. Many people know of Rishyashringa's role in the yagya, but are there any other interactions between Lord Ram and Rishyashringa mentioned in lesser known texts or research? Yes, indeed. While the Valmiki Ramayana does not focus on detailed conversations between Rama and Rishyashringa, other sources like the Anand Ramayana and certain regional adaptations suggest more interactions. In some of these texts, Rishyashringa is said to have visited Rama in Ayodhya after the Ashwamedh Yajna when Ram grew up, giving spiritual guidance to the king about his responsibilities as a ruler. One significant conversation revolves around the balance between worldly duties and spiritual detachment. Rishyashringa advised Rama on how to maintain his dharma as a king while keeping the welfare of the people and the cosmic order in mind. These discussions were deeply philosophical, addressing the responsibilities of a king in preserving righteousness in his kingdom. That is fascinating. How would you, as an art of living expert, interpret the spiritual significance of this relationship between Rama and Rishyashringa in the context of modern spirituality? The bond between Lord Ram and Sage Rishyashringa is symbolic of the eternal connection between spiritual wisdom and leadership. Rama, though an incarnation of Vishnu, still adhered to the guidance of sages like Rishyashringa. This relationship highlights the importance of humility even for someone as great as Rama in seeking wisdom from those who have attained spiritual mastery. In the art of living, we emphasize that spiritual growth often requires the guidance of a guru or wise teacher. Just as Rishyashringa guided King Dashrath and later Lord Ram, modern seekers are encouraged to seek the counsel of enlightened masters. Practices like Sudarshan Kriya and meditation can help individuals maintain clarity, much like how Rishyashringa's teachings helped Rama navigate his duties as a king. That's a profound interpretation. Would you say that Rishyashringa's influence on Lord Rama extended beyond the yajna? Absolutely. After the Putra Kameshri yajna, Rishyashringa's influence continued in the Adbhut Ramayana and some other versions. There are mentions of Rishyashringa giving Lord Rama counsel during key moments of his rule. For instance, after returning from exile, Rama sought Rishyashringa's advice on governance and the spiritual duties of a king. This underscores Rishyashringa's role not only as a priest but also as a spiritual advisor in maintaining the balance between material and spiritual life. Are there specific conversations or events recorded in these texts that highlight their interactions further? Yes, one of the conversations that stand out is related to the performance of yajnas and the balance of power in the universe. Rishyashringa is said to have instructed Rama on the significance of conducting rituals not just for personal gain or kingdom prosperity, but as a means to uphold cosmic balance. Another key moment is when Rishyashringa advises Lord Rama on the importance of compassionate governance. He reminds Rama that a ruler must not only ensure law and order, but also look after the spiritual welfare of the citizens. These teachings align with the dharma of a king, which is to act as a protector and guardian of both the physical and spiritual well being of the people. What is also noteworthy here is that Rishyashringa, much like the sages of ancient India, understood the link between personal well being and societal well being. He taught that a leader's spiritual clarity would reflect in the way they govern. In modern terms, we can see this as a call for leaders to practice mindfulness and inner peace, as that their state of mind directly influences the people they serve. It is amazing to see how timeless these teachings are. Could you both share any insights from modern research or studies that further illuminate the relationship between Rama and Rishyashringa? Recent studies in Indology and ancient literature have delved deeply into Rishyashringa's role as a symbolic figure of balance. His life spent in isolation and deep meditation symbolizes purity and the untainted mind. His introduction to the royal code and involvement in major rituals symbolize the integration of spiritual wisdom into societal leadership. Some research also suggests that the Putra Kameshri Yagya itself represents a higher spiritual process of invoking divine grace to create harmony in the material world. By facilitating this yagya, Rishyashringa not only ensured the birth of Rama, but also established a lasting connection between the spiritual and the material, which Rama carried forward throughout his life. In terms of modern interpretations, there is an increasing recognition of the importance of integrating spiritual practices into everyday leadership. Rishyashringa's role reminds us that leadership without a strong spiritual foundation can become mechanical and disconnected. This is why, in the art of living, we emphasize the importance of practices like meditation for leaders, helping them maintain a balance similar to what Rishyashringa taught. It is clear that Rishyashringa's teachings are still relevant today. Before we conclude, are there any additional points about the Rama Rishyashringa relationship that you would like to share? One lesser known aspect of their relationship, which has been highlighted in some research, is the idea of the guru disciple dynamic between them. Even though Rama was divine, his humility in seeking guidance from Rishyashringa emphasizes the importance of continually learning and growing regardless of one's stature. Also, the yajnas and the rituals that Rishyashringa conducted had a far reaching impact on the kingdom's spiritual energy. It is said that the peace and prosperity that followed in Ayodhya were in part due to the spiritual foundation laid by Rishyashringa's wisdom. I would add that the relationship between Rama and Rishyashringa is a reminder that true leadership is about serving others with humility and wisdom. This is something we encourage in the Art of Living Service to Humanity, with a sense of humility grounded in spiritual practices. Thank you both for sharing your knowledge and insights on this fascinating relationship. It is clear that there is much to learn from the bond between Lord Rama and Sage Rishyashringa, and their teachings remain relevant for us today. Jai Gurudev.